Here.
Well, I might, I don't know if I need this. Kind of feels weird. So, I guess I want to first thank you all for coming out here today. And I want to talk a little bit, two things. First, I mean, one about the timeline of all of this. And then second, what you can all do to be involved, to demand more accountability from your elected officials at all levels of government. And so when I first heard about this motion, it was just like a day or two before February 5th. I called a press conference at City Hall, and I was at City Hall on February 5th. There was only 2 other people there that were protesting it with me. We all spoke at council. And it was, it's amazing how less than a week you can get something going and growing just a local movement with more people getting involved. A whole bunch of mothers reached out to me that had concerns, and together we organized to get people speaking, registered to sign up and speak at City Hall, and more than I think 120 people spoke, and also over 2 nights. And I think that the reaction to it was very overwhelming. But for me, this had been going on for a lot longer. Going back to the last fall, I had experienced similar things with a group of city center residents over the temporary modular housing on Alderbridge Way in Richmond, which was installed more than 4 years ago. And there was a lot of people here in Richmond that were against it then, but City Council ignored those people and put it through. And over the last 4 years, the residences, businesses, the Executive Hotel, for one, have had to pay thousands of dollars to deal with broken windows, people breaking into their building, vandalism, theft, arson, defecation. It's very terrible what many of the condos in the city center and what many of the businesses have had to go through. And so when we were at City Council last November, just speaking out against this, we had city councillors like Carol Day tell us, you better invest in better locks. Or Laura Galander is telling us these people are not breaking in because these people need a home, a place to live. When we have video evidence that shows them breaking into people's cars, stealing mail, and whatnot. And so at a meeting in the middle of November, even many of those councillors agreed that the city had not done enough to mitigate the negative impacts of the modular home. So when I heard that they were going to put an injection site in the hospital, I said, you can't even guarantee to the residents about the modular home, which is a smaller scale operation than the injection site. So how do you have a plan to implement an injection site into Richmond Hospital if there's been no plan with the modular homes? And I think what Dickens here said about accountability is very present in all of this, because a lot of these service providers that operate these injection sites, that operate the modular homes, are not-for-profit groups that receive millions of dollars from city governments, provincial governments, federal governments. And I've seen their executive directors come before City Council, and they get asked questions from all the councillors, some against, some that are in favor, and they can't answer these simple questions. But yet millions of your money, taxpayer money, is going to these service providers. And there was another one at City Council earlier this year too, where the residents were complaining that they were supposed to get one nutritious meal a day, and instead they were getting frozen TV dinners as meals. So a lot of money is pouring into these, but even the residents have complaints about what's going on in these sites. And you're mixing people who are not drug users with people with mental health issues and people who are drug users, and the staff there's not enough staff to deal with all these problems. This is not probably the right way to go about dealing with these problems, but there is no accountability, there is no oversight. I mean, you know, BC Housing had to fire their entire board because one of their directors was married to someone who was a CEO of one of these non-for-profit companies getting government contracts. So I think that's one thing we can all do, is we can all demand accountability for all of our politicians, regardless of party, stripe, government. And then, and I mean, we've had a few conversations here today about politics. We don't want to get into the politics, but politics is inherently about policy. You can't separate the word politics from policy. Politics is the competition of different ideas. And no party has a monopoly on good ideas. And so it actually is a good thing when we get different ideas, whether they come from the NDP, the Liberals, or the Conservatives. We can have a healthy debate on these ideas and decide what is the best for the city we live in, for the province we live in, for the country that we live in. But I think it is important that we listen to those ideas and we actually get involved. I mean, this is a fundamental going back to ancient Greece, whereas if you don't participate in your democracy, you'll be governed by people you may disagree with. And they'll push different policies that you may or may not like. So that, yeah, I think in the last, I want to use one example from the last municipal election. There was only one debate in the city of Richmond. That debate was organized by the Richmond Anti-Poverty Committee. And they do good work. They have their own views and agendas on things. And they get to ask the questions that they want. And so there was a lot of questions that were not asked at this debate. We need more local community organizations stepping up and organizing more debates. The more questions we ask of politicians, the better we all are off.
Yes.
We can't just have a few questions only about a few issues. Whether the municipal government, provincial or federal, they all affect a whole bunch of issues that affect our lives. And so we need groups like you to get formed and to have all candidates debates and actually ask hard questions. Not just the same typical questions we're hearing over and over again. Typically the social justice questions, which there is a time and place for that, but we also need to ask questions that affect our daily lives. And so I got involved on this issue on the drug injection site, and I was so glad that so many other people over that week leading up to February the 12th also got involved and came out and spoke out. And I hope that more people get involved and stay involved. And I mean, if any of you have any questions for like ideas to help with this, I'm always here to give insight, to provide advice. And if you need to reach out to anyone, I would love to sit down with you and talk with you and help you so that you can get the answers that you want from your elected officials. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Sheldon. Okay, so it wraps up with our speakers. However, we like you think we should have how much time? 15 minutes? 5 minutes? Because we still have to know, right? Okay, so we have like 20 minutes to ask some questions because you guys probably have questions that you're prepared to ask. Okay, so like, okay,